Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I have a brand new Mandela Effect video for you guys, one that I hope you guys will find interesting. But before I get started, I just wanted to put a little disclaimer here. This one is just a fun little theory I put together. I've seen a lot of people commenting about this, so I decided to piece it all together and present it for you guys here. But there is no way of knowing if this theory is accurate or if all this is just a bunch of coincidences. I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Anyways, with that said, let's get started. As many of you might know, I have spoken about hundreds of potential Mandela effects on this channel, and after a while, I started to notice something a little bit interesting. While most Mandela effects are unique and rarely relate to the same person or the same thing more than once, there's a few exceptions to this. There are some Mandela effects that relate to the same person or thing more than once. However, there is one that stands out and goes above and beyond. It's a person that has multiple Mandela effects associated with her. Furthermore, she is connected to one of the biggest Mandela Effect theories as to why the Mandela Effect is happening. And this person is Sally Field. Yup, actress Sally Field. And now I would like to point out some of these quite interesting connections and what I like to call the Sally Field Mandela Effect connection. First of all, her name itself is a Mandela Effect. Many people remember her name actually being Sally Fields with an S instead of Field.
A couple of months later I think Sally Fields came on the show.
But this is only but the beginning of Sally Field's connection to the Mandela Effect. Next up, we have a very famous quote, and perhaps the biggest Mandela Effect related to her. During her Oscar acceptance speech, Sally Fields spoke one of the most memorable quotes during an Oscar speech. One that many remember, including myself, as, "You like me, you really like me." But it turns out the actual quote is, "You like me, right now, you like me." In my opinion, this is one of the biggest Mandela effects, as it is one that many people agree on.
Deny the fact that you like me. Right now, you like me.
I guess this means you like me. You really like me.
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 You like me. You really like me. You like me. You really like me. You like me. You really like me.
As a friend.
You like me. You really like me.
You like me. You really like me. You love me. You really love me.
I guess Sally Field said, "You really like me. You really like us."
It is a great day, and you like me. You really like me.
Then we have one of the first Mandela effects that got people talking about the Mandela Effect. And this one comes from Forrest Gump, and what is arguably the most famous quote from that film, and one that people remember as, "Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get." However, it turns out the actual quote is, "Life was like a box of chocolates." And of course, in the film, Sally Field plays the role of Forrest Gump's mother. Then we have another Mandela Effect. This one is from the film Mrs. Doubtfire. This one has to do with a comedic line that's delivered during the film when Mrs. Doubtfire, who is played by Robin Williams, hits Pierce Brosnan's character with a piece of fruit in the back of the head. The line that is then delivered and is remembered as, "It was a drive-by fruiting," has now changed according to many to, "It was a run-by fruiting." I have linked a video where I speak more about this one. While it's a small Mandela effect, it still links back to Sally Fields, as she plays the wife of Mrs. Doubtfire, Robert Williams' character, in the film. At this point, you might be thinking to yourself, All this is just a big coincidence. How can Sally Fields have anything to do with the Mandela Effect? Well, this is where things get extremely interesting. And we take a look at one of the quote-unquote biggest coincidences when it comes to this Sally Fields connection. As many of you might know, one of the biggest theories behind the Mandela Effect and to why it's happening is related to the powerful experiments that are going on at CERN. I have spoken about this in detail in one of my other theory videos that I have linked in the description. And what does CERN have to do with Sally Fields? Well, her brother is a physicist that works at CERN. Here you can see these pictures of Sally Fields and her brother at CERN. In one of my other videos, I had pointed out how CERN is, in my opinion, aware of the Mandela Effect conversation that is going on in the community. And again, in my opinion, have acknowledged it. But for the sake of keeping this video short, I will link to another video where I spoke in detail about this. And this is where the speculation begins as to what might be really happening here. Has CERN figured out a way to manipulate our reality? And perhaps was one of the earlier tests or examples of this the Sally Fields Oscar acceptance speech, or perhaps her name? And did this maybe cause some kind of ripple effect that affected the projects, films, her life? Just so many unknowns. And as I have already stated, this is just an interesting theory. No one is certain that CERN is really behind the Mandela Effect, or they are just messing with the Mandela Effect community with some of the things they have done in the past. Again, please watch the other videos on the subject if you don't know what I'm referring to. I have linked them down below in the description. Anyways guys, what do you guys think of all this? Is this just a bunch of coincidences, or might we really be onto something here? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one.